Hey gang, this is Fillmore, just letting you know that if you enjoy our podcast, quite frankly, a Howard Stern podcast, and you'd like to donate some money for the upkeep, or you want to request certain clips, please donate to our Patreon page at patreon.com/JimFix. That's JIMFIXX. You can donate as much as you want for as long as you want. There's absolutely no obligation.
Safer with Jeffrey Dahmer.
I love that line.
I'm not sure what we learned, Dr. Ablow.
I think what you learn.
Of course you're not.
And I tend to look at her more.
He can't even retain Marley and Me. Do you think he's going to retain anything from this?
I think he used to play Pong and get confused every time he went back to it.
I think what you've learned is that you have the foundation for a brilliant relationship.
Good.
An example for other people. Some of that example has to be your disarming, okay? To let her continue to grow into everything she can be. And part of that is going to be challenging with you as well as being a barometer to know if you're comfortable. She says, I have this anxiety. It'd be good if she didn't have the anxiety.
But if I'm this one who is causing the anxiety, how can I help ease her anxiety?
By coming out. How can you ease her anxiety? By not being who you are. And I was thinking about this. There was an Artie line. It was about they were talking about role playing, whatever. And he said, "Oh yeah, that's always comfortable with a couple role playing. Yeah, honey, could you be any other person other than yourself?"
Yes.
Yeah.
What can I do? Or does she need to go work on that? To get rid of the anxiety.
Can I just say that I have dated, I am going to be 35 years old.
Okay.
I have never been engaged.
Positive.
Problem.
I have dated.
You're going to be 35.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Every time Beth does something like, can I just say, or I want to say, I get a twinge of like nervousness, but like in a good way, like, oh God, she is gonna blow it. Like, so it's like I brace myself for her to do something so completely stupid or say something that you know is going to be so wrong and just screw everything up for him.
This is where I would throw in an I, Claudius quote by one of the characters near the end where he goes, I have learned very carefully how to tread in a burning building.
Don't bring that up.
I have dated so many different types of men. I've lived with men. I've dated very wealthy men. I've dated celebrities. I've dated
Now, what celebrities?
It's like a Broadway star. I think.
The Broadway friend. He did the musical Tommy or whatever it was.
Yeah, and, there's a picture of them sucking face on like Google Images, and it's the most. It clearly is nothing I've ever seen her do with Stern.
No, and he kisses her. It's like a stranger.
Oh, I'm not a slut. I'm not a whore, but I really dated a lot of men.
Sounds a little like slow horror. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I have found my peace with this man. Like I really have. I am.
You have, because you're an anxiety-ridden mess that is taking breaths just so he doesn't walk on the carpet, and you have to point it out.
Yeah.
How is that peace?
Well, it's called a wine cellar. Like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the anxiety that even his kids. I was trying to think about this, and I won't stretch the point too long, but I'll try to do my best. His kids growing up with him, it's probably better for them that he was an absentee father in some ways, because if he's this much of an anxiety freak, every one of them must have been. I mean, God bless Allison. I'm sure she wasn't perfect either, but it looks like.
I was with my kids, but on my terms.
On my terms. That'll maybe go in the intro.
Happy and fulfilled and just full and warm with this man in front of me.
Beautifully said. I love the sentiment. It doesn't erase, as you two are prone to do, it doesn't erase the subsoil that we've uncovered.
Right. In other words, it doesn't erase the anxiety that she might experience in the relationship. It's not all perfect.
No, and sometimes, by the way, people feel at home and as if they've finally arrived in the place they can put their head down on a pillow when they're kind of closer to things that may have troubled them in their background. They're like, oh, okay, this is very familiar to me.
I know this, yeah.
I know this. I've always, as my mother said, I've always been a people pleaser. This is the guy who needs the most pleasing.
Right.
That's it in a nutshell. I mean, I was actually amazed that he got a chance to come back to the show after this, because he did. Now, it was the last time Howard ever let something like this happen where he was so exposed. But I'm surprised that Dr. Ablow wasn't given the fucking Andy Dick treatment.
Oh, I know. Seriously. I mean, but here we go again, where they come to this realization, they kind of uncover some stuff, and then in order for this relationship to survive and be a marriage, or look like a marriage, they have to cover this right back up. They cannot keep digging. This is as much digging as they can do, or they will have to face the fact that this is a sham.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants that burden?
Thing. Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy to you.
So you're saying that if that's the case, that in the future, I'm going to end up resenting that?
Yes.
That's the potential problem?
Well, two possibilities. You could end up resenting it, or he could end up turning around one day and saying, I'm still alone. I still feel alone. I'm not with somebody who can really meet me on equal ground. And it will have been a situation of his own making, but
not with a real person, then.
I'll still have empathy for him.
That's right.
Right? Because he's a tough cookie.
Go ahead.
Fast forward to 2013, and she literally admitted that she drinks every day.
Yeah.
and he's getting put in cars, and she's partying at Kimmel's house. I mean,
Did you have that image of her after the wedding with that handler that's always with her, and she's just kind of shoving this drunk bitch into the limousine, and she got that hand waving like, hey, that hand is always outstretched. One of my favorite clips, I think it was EX, like it wasn't E, it was Entertainment Tonight or something, and they ambushed them outside someplace, and they asked them split screen questions like separately. He goes, so they go, what's your idea of a perfect night, Howard? And he goes, oh, nice dinner, glass of wine, and they split to her, and she goes, definitely a bottle of wine. It just like it flies out of her mouth.
Right? Very lovable, as you've discovered. Right, but
really, any woman would be lucky to be with me. That's what I keep telling you. Well, let me tell you something. This is very, very upsetting. I'm
not upset at all. I'm actually really encouraged.
Better not be, or you're going to be hightailing it right back to Pittsburgh.
That's right.
This was really good.
I don't even know what I learned. I'm so nervous.
You said this is very upsetting. I feel this is a wonderful thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Could you get more Stepford? This is
also anything that they retained from this was quickly just squashed and forgotten, and we're going to put back on our perfect hats and pretend this never happened.
Pretend this never happened, absolutely.
Bonghead Eric, you're on the air. Go ahead. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey now.
He's pretty wise, this guy.
Bonghead has been talking through the entire thing. What have you got to say?
Oh, man. Howard.
He just finished the hit. Go ahead. Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Beth, you sound like a dream come true angel to put up with all this insecurity, nonsense bullshit that Howard makes you feel anxiety. Howard, that's not right.
Oh, I love him.
I don't mean to do it.
Beth, if you go home, please take me seriously. I'll take care of him. Howard, why are you so insecure?
Oh, stop it. Kyle, you're on the air.
Hey, you got.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think... I know Beth is super vapid and stupid and a gold digger, but do you think if she didn't go through with this wedding, and let's say she picked somebody who had some money and like her own age, that she would be different, that she wouldn't be this like fame-seeking, lonely, obvious alcoholic on Instagram? I mean...
Well, I think the level of alcoholism might have changed. She might not be as much of a drinker. She might not be as much of a wine but I think she clearly always wanted to be famous on some level. She clearly always a star fucker. Guys at the old place, particularly Dennis, would say. What was the phrase? Oh, they kept quoting Sandra Bernhard as a source of information, like where she was a partier. We know, like, Sandra Bernhard's a huge bullshit artist. That was just a throwaway thing. We want to hold on to that as if it's some truism, but no, the the roots of where she came from. Most likely she was just a social climber, absolutely, like going around the bars, being paid to be a host, like a host, not a hostess. What do you call them? Like I guess like a party girl, but really just to show at a club. And show up at a club and make it look happening. Not to be an escort for somebody, but just actually
possibly. Like we don't know for sure or not, but yeah, more leaning towards maybe just like please, this music artist is coming here, so you're going to be sitting in this VIP section, and
right.
If he picks to fuck you, then yay.
Well, yeah, it's not direct. It's not directly like, oh, you're definitely gonna get plugged by him, but in a situation where it might be, look, this guy, we need to beard for. Maybe it's a bearding service. I have no idea. She was with a guy on Broadway, and that's one of the first things a lot of publicists would do is we want to avoid the appearance, especially in the early '90s or late whatever, that this guy is a Gaylord. So how do we do that? You got to hook him up with, the right looking beard. And so yeah.
You think though that, so you're, if her life is what it is now, but
well, it's only as empty and stuff because she didn't quite understand. She wasn't smart enough to understand that his star was going to fade. He was not going to. He was, first of all, not as powerful as she thought she was. He gave up his power for the money when he went for Sirius, the deal, because he had no influence at that point. If you look at Google Trends, they go back as far as 2004, and you look at his trends. The only spikes come from Robin's cancer, because people were looking it up, but only on those specific days, like the exact day. And then Google search as a metric. I mean, the book promotion, when Artie left, all these things, Artie starts up a new podcast. That's when it spikes because his name will show up. But he couldn't greenlight any fucking project. He's not putting money behind a production company anymore. So, and he can only do so much with Buchwald. They can only turn so many doors open, hold so many doors open for her to try to audition. Basically, those are things saying, that's Buchwald calling in a favor saying, look, she's getting antsy. Howard's going, she's getting antsy. Can you give her something? Okay, we'll give her sweepstake poker stacks with whoever the fuck. We'll give her Mom Caves. We'll try that with some fly-by-night network. And I think Mom Caves, the pilot, is on YouTube. And it's as bad as you might think.
I mean, she does not have the ability to see how unlikable she is on television. I mean, there's zero relatability. She comes off over-rehearsed. She's terrible on television. Yes. And they just should have told her, like, listen, you're not good.
Yeah. Like that one, was it all One Life to Live? What was the sitcom, the soap that she was on where she plays the waitress?
And the wink. That wink.
That one, I think you could probably do 3 hours on just goofing on that 1 minute clip.
I could watch that meme on a loop forever.
It's fantastic.
Problems, but I'm fucking loving this shit.
It wasn't boring at all, was it?
No, not at all.
Bobo, you're on the air.
How you doing there? Hi, Beth. Isn't it true that you and Howard had a fight when Bianca jumped in the pool and Howard just stood there and just said, do something? He said,
not at all. I laugh about it to this day.
She's the man in the relationship.
He didn't jump in after the...
Oh, yes, she is.
Yes, she is.
When she fell in, that I had to jump in after the dog. Cause
I was taking off my sneakers. I would have jumped.
And they were not sneakers. They were boots. He said boots. They're the same fucking pre-distressed, whatever, motorcycle boots.
It took a long time to get off those boots.
Granted, I had
We heard that.
Couldn't get that wig wet.
Full makeup ready to go out to lunch. And
You're kidding me.
hey, Beth.
Yeah.
How come you're not on the top 100 FHM most beautiful girls? You should definitely be in there.
You're a lunkhead with a square jaw and a fug face.
just a few of the reasons.
Oh,
that's very nice.
Thank you.
Dominic, you're on the air.
Howard, I know you 22 years.
Right.
I socialized you in your first marriage. You are my honey, Leslie.
You know,
I love how Dominic always inserts himself like some, uncle of his or something. He's just some shyster lawyer who listened to the radio.
But his speakerphone is almost like mayonnaise enhanced. When he talks, it sounds like he's lathered in mayonnaise.
My favorite is when they My favorite is when he would call in and it would sound like he's underwater, and then Howard would get the megaphone and
oh God, he did it one time. I think I have it up there, like I don't know what it was. I think they're talking about like the sex in the 70s and how he was talking about
the sex in the 60s. When I
sex
grew
in the
up,
60s. Yeah, when I grew up.
Hold on, Dominic's calling from a car under the water.
He's underwater.
Incredibly growing as a person. I think Beth's wonderful for you, and you could have never done this 10 or 20 years ago.
I miss him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you use sex as a weapon?
Sex as a weapon?
Yeah, like...
Does he threaten her with no sex? It's not much of a threat. That really is like holding a caps, like a starter pistol at someone who's trying to rob him.
If she doesn't do what you want, or she goes out at night and you're not happy, that you get a little cold towards her?
No, we have always had very loving
but I do get what Beth is referring to. Yes, when she goes out, sometimes I can get a little distant, right, for a while, and get.
Fuck my chess teacher.
Yeah. And while Ralph's videotaping, there was one caller I'd never forget. I wish I had the clip. No, it wasn't caller. It was Fred. Fred goes, from a scale, like if Beth goes out, 10 times on a scale of like 1 to 10, how often do you get upset? And there's a silence and Artie goes, 10. They start laughing.
And he says, yeah. Like, does it take me a while to get back into sex and stuff?
No, because usually when I have sex before I go out.
Right.
And then
then I use sex as a weapon afterwards.
You're great, and you too, you're going to be happy, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Say it properly.
Oh, yeah, because Dominic's the foremost
even more and more
authority on marriage. He
remarried 3 times.
His ex-wife twice and had restraining orders in delis.
He's the Yoda of divorce. Like, he makes Carson look like I don't know, some marriage guru. Oh, Christ.
I know it. Believe me, I can't stand being with me.
Oh, stop
I'm being serious.
That's interesting.
That's not true.
That's true.
Well, he can't stand being himself. He hates himself, but he loves. It's a dichotomy. He does love himself, but he hates everything about him.
Got issues,
and he hates that he's gay.
Yeah, he's trying total suppression for 30 years.
We must benefit from your issues.
When Beth and Ralph say that I am a guy who,
Why does Ralph have to come into this?
Because that's his other lover. Let's be honest.
Right.
Scott Thorson and was Liberace and Scott Thorson.
Complain everything. I have a tremendous anger thing.
Okay, how does it manifest itself?
I take it out on myself.
Mm-hmm. How?
I'm very uncomfortable.
I just picture him ferociously masturbating to babysitter porn.
I just picture him as I picture him as Philip Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights in the car when he goes, I'm a fucking idiot after he kisses Mark Wahlberg on the mouth. Anyway.
What I end up doing is I end up beating myself up, whether it be OCD or all kinds of
horseshit. He doesn't have OCD. He does not have fucking OCD. He's just a fucking child and a 79 IQ.
Other shit. I really tear into myself. Yeah, I make myself sick in the head. It's crazy. But the fact of the matter is, this is the best relationship I've ever had with a human being.
Oh, my God.
His daughters must love to hear that. No wonder they don't listen to the show. Can you imagine? Bianca taught me how to love.
This is the best relationship you had with a human being. You guys can't even talk to each other.
You can't make fucking. You can't say boo.
She is incredibly loving to me, and I feel incredibly loving toward her.
She is incredibly loving to me, and I feel incredibly loving to her. There's really no us. Yeah.
She is everything. And I think that you're absolutely right. I've got to have an equal, because I never want Beth to be angry with me in terms of our relationship, and that's not healthy.
He's convoluting the points about being equal and being able to have a fight and not being angry with, like, he's mixing up these revelations that he was supposed to come to. He conflated them.
Pretty much. Yeah.
With me, it's good for her. Like, we have a whole issue about, it's not really an issue. Beth doesn't want to have children right now. I don't want to have children. And we've always said, well, how can we get married? What if she changed her mind and wants to have children? We got to put.
Okay, now we're going to stop it just there because I'm going to go to a clip that I have on my channel called Doug Goodstein Out's Beef is for Wanting Kids. And basically, this was from 2004. And I'm just going to play the 2 segments where Doug says that's not true. She does want kids.
Did you catch that too? How he said she doesn't want children right now, and I don't want children. Period.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so check this out.
And Howard's got a recording of a radio show where he says he made 0 promises.
I don't make any promises.
What's happened behind closed doors is up to the 2 people.
How do you? It's he said, she said.
That's right, and maybe she can make them believe.
Whatever, I don't care.
Last time Marlo saw Beth, which I think was at the 10th anniversary party, Beth made a very clear comment to Marlo, my wife, that she sort of would like to have kids.
I know. See, this is the thing.
You're lying.
Okay, now there's that, and let's go to about 1350, I believe, at the timestamp. And they get her on the phone, and they just banter for a bit, and then all of a sudden,
wants a divorce, and to tell you, and he asked me to do it. So, Marlo, what did you hear Beth say to you?
I could barely remember. I had a couple of drinks. It was like a bunch of months ago.
I won't leave what I thought.
Our witness is crumbling.
I'm not going to say a word.
What did Beth say to you regarding children?
Oh, geez, if I can remember. Just that I think it's that she felt a little sad that a lot of her friends had kids and she wasn't going to be able to.
Exactly what I said.
Something to that effect.
Okay, so then Artie starts and he tries to lighten it up, of course, because he has to. God bless him. But there, you're busted. And then Robin goes in a little further and starts saying she lies. She lies to you. So hold on, let me just keep getting this forward.
Yeah.
You're drunk because I said that to you.
Beth looked like Artie.
You sure it wasn't Artie who said it to you?
Mom, I'm so sad. My friends don't have a kid.
Am I in trouble now?
No. All right, I will address that
That's a big
with Beth on the air.
On the air.
Uh-oh.
Look, that's where
That's key.
I don't know. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're telling me that I'm lying, so I'm going to get her on the air.
I didn't say you were lying.
So I'm going to get her on the air. So again, can't fucking talk about it in person. He's got to talk within the confines of the studio, or he's not talking, and that really is where he is.
This seems like a topic that would be good for the air. Having children with your going to be wife.
Yeah, basically.
I'm saying she's going to say one thing to you, and in her heart of hearts, she knows she can't say the absolute truth because then you'd lose your interest in her.
So you're saying Beth's a liar?
I'm saying she's lying to you.
Okay.
She might be telling everybody else the truth.
So when you tell me you don't want to have kids,
I'm not Beth.
so you know Beth better than I do.
And you have never heard me say to anybody, boy, I feel really bad. All my friends are having kids. All my friends do have kids.
Have Marlo.
So you know Beth better than I do.
No, I'm not saying that. I just know women.
And you're saying she's a liar. I'm just going on record.
I didn't say she was a liar.
She's saying she lies to me.
You.
So she's a liar.
She lies to you.
So she's a liar.
She lies to you.
Is she a liar?
She lies to you.
So then she's a liar.
I love this.
Okay, is she a liar?
So, crying out loud, and she says, yeah, and you lie as well. Of course he does. Of course he does. His entire life is a fucking lie. So, anyway, let's get back to the original thing. That was just to color it, everybody, so that when you're getting in, like, this narrative that she never wanted a kid and she never wanted to be famous is, of course, just shit.
It's all out on the table.
Yeah.
Because Beth is my equal.
Right.
And I don't in the relationship, and I don't want to be the overbearing one, and I don't want her to have to feel like she always has to please me.
Well, here's what you have sourced in the world, and for which I applaud you. And
see, here we go. You got to build them up to break them down.
Fluff them up a little bit.
You'll never get there on your own.
I know that. Believe me.
You have found someone so unlikely to hurt you.
Yes.
So unlikely to overwhelm you.
Yes.
That you can err on the side of disarming. She will not. She is not in her soul the sort of person who will abuse the privilege.
That's right. I feel if I ever can get to be the person that I want to be, if I ever break down those walls, that Beth will be the safest person to do it with.
And listen to the terminology. Break down those
walls.
This
also,
is very
and
much.
Beth
Go ahead.
She'll be. Well, don't you think if you're marrying somebody that should already be?
That's exactly like, and I'll bring this. We'll cover this one another time. There's a famous Canadian interviewer, long dead now, but he interviewed Howard for Private Parts. And at one point in the thing, Howard starts talking about what Benjamin has already talked about in terms of, he said, when I'm on the air, that's really me, but when I'm off the air, I'm a fraud and I'm a hypocrite and I think I'm lying. And I think that's him wanting to admit he's basically closeted and he can't do it.
And that's the moment.
Also, too, the thing with the kids, when Benji interviewed her, I'm looking back up on Mark's friggin'.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm reading. They started. Obviously, she admitted she cheated on everybody.
Yep.
And then
I believe I have it. One sec. Let's see if I can find it here.
Sebastian. I'm sorry. I'm looking through the Belle and Sebastian. What a friggin' homo.
I cheated on every boyfriend. Hold on. Let me see if this actually, I'll have to use another window.
Benji asked Beth if she ever wanted children. He said he thinks she did about 5 years ago. Benji said he thinks she'd be very happy if Howard asked her to have kids. She said she'd be thrilled. She said that she's fine not having kids too.
Mm-hmm.
So the girl wanted kids.
Yeah, clearly. And I mean, like, why? But, if you want to keep your meal ticket happy, when he kept saying, I'm not going to, she did the long con. And many times in the clips, Robin totally fucking called it. She said, she knows what to say to you to fucking get you to go. Like, you weren't going to get married. And then that happened. The kid thing, I'm actually amazed it didn't happen. And if he's still using the rubbers with her, it makes perfect sense. But,
or if he's never having sex with her.
Or he's, exactly. Just let's throw that one in there, everybody.
Which is a glorious moment. What a great moment to be at.
Well, are you planning to do that, Howard? It sounds like that's still somewhere in the future.
Do what? I forgot what I said. What did I say, Ron?
Remember Marley died.
Ever going to let down the walls? She's the person you...
Yeah, I have let down the walls. Believe me.
You haven't let them all down.
No, it's not easy. Why not? Well, I feel once I let down all the walls...
Do you think Robin knows that he's gay?
Hold on. Let's just get that one click right here because you talked right over it. Hold on.
Privilege.
That's right. I feel if I ever can get to be the person that I want to be, if I ever break down those walls, that Beth will be the safest person to do it with.
Yeah, that's when you listen to that again, that sounds like someone wanting to come out.
Yes.
It's couched in such terminology like, I can't do this now, but I feel safe if I do it with this person. So,
and this entire conversation too, it's circling. We're all tiptoeing around this thing, and the thing is, this fraudulent relationship is a beard relationship.
Yeah. I mean, all the signs point to it. And the kid thing is irrelevant. Fucking Vincent Minnelli had kids with Judy Garland and with Judy Garland and produced Liza. So I mean that guy was
David Guest for Christ's
sake. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like Tony Perkins had 2 kids with a woman and he was gay.
Does being beard running family, like, is it a genetic trait?
I'm not sure.
You find yourself at, which is a glorious moment. Okay. What a great moment to be at.
Okay, hold on for a second.
Well, are you planning to do that, Howard? It sounds like that's
Sorry
still
for the
somewhere
repetition,
in the future.
everybody. We want to hear this.
Do what? I forgot what I said. What did I say, Ron?
Remember Marley died.
Ever going to let down the walls?
Here we
She's
go.
the person you...
Yeah, I have let down the walls. Believe me.
You haven't let them all down.
No, it's not easy. Why not? Well, I feel once I let down all the walls, I'll be fully gay.
Now that's not. I mean, I know he's making it sound like a joke, but it's not a joke.
That's why I'm saying.
You think you asked me about Rob?
Do you think
Robin knows?
Yeah, and this is like him trolling her, like because you're also, by the way, Howard is Robin's meal ticket too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
no,
do you think that this is a troll? Like,
yes, I think this is him. This is as he used to say, Wiggerus flying too close to the sun again, and this is him waving a fucking rainbow flag in front of his employees who are paid not to out him. Non-disclosure agreements, and my God, if you ever come out and say blah blah blah, look at John Travolta, for example. Carrie Fisher years ago God rest her soul. She came out in an interview and explained, we all know, John, we'd all be fine with it. We'd understand why you're still basically gay, basically outing him. And probably had nothing to do with him at that point. And I thought that was fascinating that someone that high profile would just do that to what used to be an A-list star. For Howard, it would have to be someone from the past or someone whatever. And you could sue him because Liberace sued the National Enquirer for saying he was gay and won. If people look it up, it's true. And So do I think she knows? I think they all know. On some level, they all know. Except the underlings might not know, but I think all those Howard TV guys, they have all seen something, heard something, know
just
something.
In general, the Ralph relationship, anytime when it's pressed, which it used to be pressed a lot more, like, we don't get it.
Right.
You can't live without a stylist? Like,
basically, he's hiding in plain sight. He's closeted in plain sight with all those people, and I think they're all in on it, so.
Don't do that. Leave up the one heterosexual wall.
Right.
Hey, but one thing I wanted to bring up while the doctor's here, because we never get the doctor here. There's one example, I think, and this is all stuff that was on the air, so where Howard didn't feel Beth had an issue with something, and she really did. Gary's party. And I'm wondering if that's a pattern, if that happens a lot, and Beth would know. Like, did you hear that whole Gary's party thing?
Beth was lying about it.
She was lying about it.
Yes.
So now you're back to you were right. She didn't
bring that up again.
You wanted to leave the party, too.
I wanted to leave the party because I knew you were miserable, and it would be no fun for me to sit there.
Well, but I guarantee you she didn't say that.
No, not at the time.
So I'm sure they're both telling their own truths.
Yep.
She lied to him to appease him, even though she probably wanted to stay and keep drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he was happy to accept the lie so he could leave and go home.
Well, he happy. He didn't care about the lie. He just really didn't. He didn't care
whatsoever. He doesn't give a shit about her. Yeah.
Or anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, now, look, there's a pattern here. I don't want to this is not dire, by the way.
Let's
this
fluff
is a
him up
good,
some more.
hopeful moment.
Right.
Let's not lose that.
I thought you really wanted to leave Gary's party. You were thrilled to get out of there.
I really wanted to leave because I saw your misery. There was a point where
Let's remember this started at "We're perfect and we never fight."
This is going to be a boring segment.
Be honest right now.
I swear
Are you saying that because you're afraid
Bianca's
of Gary?
life.
And
I swear on Bianca's
really?
life.
You would have stayed
He
longer.
doesn't give a fuck about Bianca's life. He let her sink like a stone.
Didn't he? Wasn't it recently they thought there was an alarm at Chimney Mansion and he bolted. He left all the cats in there. And he just left her behind. So you get this image of him like that scene in Apocalypse Now when the helicopter is dropping the girls off and then trying away because the guys, like, you just see Howard on that rope ladder trying to get the fuck away, stepping on Beef's head just to get away. It's just staggering.
You didn't turn to me in the car and say, "I'm so glad we left"?
I'm glad we left because you were so miserable,
Really?
and it would have been absolutely a horrible evening for me to sit there making you stay there.
All right.
Well, we both want the same thing, me to be happy.
Yep.
Question is, has that happened before, Beth, in the relationship?
I can't think of specifics, but I'm sure. I always want. I mean, I don't want to be anywhere where he's miserable because
But I don't
it
want to be
makes
anywhere
for a
where you're
really
miserable.
horrible evening.
But he's miserable everywhere. So
Exactly. What are you talking about? Like,
look, you cannot please King Baby.
no, it's Tuesday. He's miserable. What else is new? Yeah.
You also don't have the ability to let her be where she's happy if you're miserable.
That being said, we got in the car, we went home, we had a beautiful night's sleep, and I'm in the
this is how
where I want to be.
I know.
Dr. Ablow. I was so tired.
The last chapter in the short stories that Beth tells is always a reclaiming of love.
Yes.
In other words, she says, chapter 1, we had a disagreement. He wanted to leave. He was miserable. I wanted to please him. And you said, I didn't even notice that. Now, what?
It's like, well, yeah. Duh. I mean, he's like basically, once again, got to cater to King Baby. If we're all on the payroll, everybody, Artie, Robin, Jackie, Beth, fucking, and like literally, Beth is on their 401k. She's got a 401k through the company. They're all employees, and so is she.
She could have said, instead of, but we went home and we had a wonderful night, she could have said, that's a bit of a problem. I'm a little concerned. Why didn't you notice that I really wanted to stay? I did.
Because he doesn't love you or care about you.
There was no.
You're a somebody. You're somebody.
Sorry, go ahead.
Misery. So I'm like, okay,
Do you see
time
what she
for
just
us
told
to go.
you? Yeah. She just told you how good she is at disguising her real feelings in service to servicing yours.
That's scary.
Yeah.
She just told you how she is a fraud, and you don't care that she's a fraud.
Yeah. Like, this is like the elephant well stomping around the room
We
here.
left and we had a wonderful night, and that's genuine.
Yes, no,
that's
I
true.
know.
I'm not
But you know why? But you know why she does that?
I really
I'll
had
tell
a
you
great
why.
night with him.
Because with me, you never know. You're like, well, if you go against me and I'm sitting there miserable all night, it's a nightmare for her.
Yes.
But see,
Complete
that's the
nightmare.
Point,
I'm a
that's
nightmare.
why I said
Right.
you haven't let down all the walls.
I'm a nightmare. I know
believe
this.
me,
Okay,
I know.
can I think of an example?
If he got to wear the dress he wore to Letterman to that dinner party, he would have stayed all night.
Yeah, I think so. The one where it says, I got to find that one that confused. You mean when he went up?
For Miss America book promotions.
One of the several times he dressed up in drag and loved it.
This happened
You're
last
piling
week.
in here.
His cousins had a graduation party.
Yeah.
Beautiful graduation party at this place. It was a sit-down dinner.
Yes.
There was a point where Howard looked at me and he goes, I gotta go. The food was
wait a
just
second.
about to be served.
Okay, now he's got to control the narrative now, right? Like, hold on, wait a minute. You're actually telling the truth now.
He literally wants to pull out his conceal and carry, and blow her the fuck away after this.
But tell Dr. Ablow, I have a job the next day. The party was it was already 8:30. I
No,
go to
it
bed at 8
wasn't,
o'clock.
honey. It
was
was
8.
7 o'clock. I said, we'll be home by 8. The party
We
started
weren't.
at 6. 6 to 7 was cocktail.
Oh my God, he wants to shoot her in the foot like Spider. Dance Spider.
Dance.
7. Dinner was supposed to be
I had a lot
served
of
at
pressure.
7. Okay, it was 7:15.
I
It
told
was a
you
little
to
bit
stay.
late.
I said, why don't you stay? I got to go. I got to go to bed. I had an audience that pays for my radio show. I have an obligation.
But that was an example, Artie.
Yeah.
So you can get on the radio in the morning.
Basically, you can relax at 5 in the morning, getting up for a fucking radio podcast.
See, it's true love. The audience.
The first course.
That's right. You're goddamn right. I love this.
And then
radio.
I said, let's just stay. The entrees are coming out. And what's my favorite part of the night is dessert. But
Because that's the only thing she eats. Sweets, drinks wine, and no actual food passes down that gullet.
Do you like how she answered that for him? Because she's like, shit, he might not know what my favorite part is.
we left right before the dessert because you were so miserable. But then I came home and ate chocolate, so it was okay.
Well, here's
Wow. Sounds like a complete life.
She said it's okay.
I've learned to some extent. I have some things in common with you, right? The internal anger. I've got this stuff, right? So when I was going to do the pilot of my talk show, the last thing my wife said to me, she got kind of misty-eyed, and I thought she was going to say, good luck, I can't believe this is happening.
Right.
She said, do you know it's Friday, it's trash day?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Exactly.
I should have thrown her right out.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's spontaneous sincerity.
And I love her because I translated the question. The question really wasn't, do you know it's trash? The question is, with you going out to Los Angeles to do this, are you going to forget about us here?
Yeah.
Right.
Do you understand
you're
that you're still part of? Not really. I lose it all the time. But
yeah, you lost it so much.
you lost
it so much that you turned your patient into an S&M victim.
I took a strap to her. I gave her a ball gag like the Gimp in fucking Pulp Fiction. I said I wanted a master and slave relationship.
What you need to do is you have to take more responsibility for whether you overwhelm her.
Isn't it great?
Right? I mean,
yeah, I guess I do.
More responsibility.
I'm horrible.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are. You're horrible.
It's such lip service when he goes, I'm horrible, because he really doesn't think that. You know he doesn't think that.
And he doesn't care if he is anyway.
No, he doesn't. That's a rude.
You are
awareness of how he indicates that he's uncomfortable.
Robin, people were scrambling at that party, coming up to me behind his back going, is he okay? What can we do? And then
damn spider, damn.
It's talks about you. It wasn't about
I'm very important.
Everybody was scrambling and worried, and his cousin went up to the chef.
It's a good shot. What do you want? You got a problem with that, Anthony?
And was hurting the chef just to bring his meal out.
I said nothing. Hold it, you're wrong. I said nothing.
You were miserable.
I was, but I said nothing. I sat there quietly.
Like this.
I was asleep.
Howard,
I can't stay awake.
Yes, right.
Can you imagine? This is actually what's fascinating about this. This is really him. Like that's him, 24/7 when he doesn't get his fucking
really
way.
Her. This is really what she thinks of him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, Pat knows you better than anybody.
When you were sitting here on the air and you fell asleep, could you control that?
No, because I choose to make the people happy in my life. I stay later, and I fall asleep here. Fuck the audience. I want the chick in my life to like me. No, but here's the thing.
I've been up since 4.
Can I give you
But no one else was tired.
I hadn't eaten. I don't know what anybody else was doing. I was having a hard time. I didn't say anything to anybody.
Wait a minute. Gary's party was on a Saturday.
I'm done by 10 o'clock. I can't stay awake.
There was no day to worry about.
Motherfucker kept me there all.
It probably is mentally exhausting, though, for him to walk around all day like the posing skater boy fraud that he is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
he
hates.
Wig, he's got the boots. He's got the those fucking clothes. He's got the voice.
He's got the homosexuality. He's got the look. I don't really eat food. I have to be at a dinner party.
He literally needs an off switch because it's like too much. 10 o'clock. He can't fake it for till 10.
Oh, fuck no. And then to be honest, the truth is, when you have a routine schedule where you sleep, it's like jet lag, anything. You cannot actually, when you're used to, and it's not about age, when you're used to waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning for an 8 o'clock job or whatever, and you need to get to sleep earlier. Yeah, on the weekends, it's definitely hard to turn that off, but you're having fun. You don't have to do anything on Sunday except sleep the fuck in. And then Monday, when you do get in, it's not like you're walking to work or commuting on the L train or whatever. You're going to a fucking dinner party where you don't have to step on the gas, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean, you don't even have to fucking tell the truth about whether you're enjoying. Just fuck through it. Think of every wedding you've ever been to,
I know.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a meal.
Would anybody else, would Howard did at Gary's party?
Don't invite me anywhere and I'll be happy.
Dr. Evelyn, you don't even know. They wanted to. Wait a minute.
9:35.
Right.
We started thinking about leaving.
I left. You should have served a goddamn meal, Gary.
Wait a minute. I got to tell you.
People over.
That
You'll get up early.
Not only did he leave, they, Beth went to, I guess, the kitchen or something with Mary to get, because she wanted
dessert
to pass off dessert for her. And Howard stood in the other room and screamed her name.
She was ruining the party for other people.
And Ronnie had to get up to get the car. Everybody's scrambling to say bye to him. Benji's sweating because he might say the wrong thing to Howard. So Benji's sweating on my stage.
Okay, so let's sum up. I'm a fucking miserable guy.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. You are.
Listen to all that fucking trying to save their own jobs.
Seriously, these rare beacons of truth that shine through.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there. They're all there. He's a horrible human being.
Yeah, horrendously awful. Yeah.
You're vulnerable. How's she going to be in a long-term marriage with a fucking idiot like that?
You're not at all. And it's just another, when you see what she's doing with her eyes, she's doing what she does when she sees
telling you she's
that's damaged.
Yeah.
Yes, right. But you've reduced it to okay, if we're going to start to look at me at all, I'm going to just throw in the towel and say I'm miserable. Right. That short circuits the discussion.
Right.
Where we was saying maybe it's time to exert a little bit more in the way of responsibility, caretaking of the people around you. You're such a forceful personality. You have unbridled emotion.
How am I going to change all this?
You can't.
Step by step. The doctor's here for you, brother.
That's the quote. That's the quote me and Arm used to fucking quote back at each other. It sounded so much like Saturday morning wrestling. The doctor's here for you, brother.
It's so douchey.
it's douchitude, like it's douche central, and the we don't try not to make this so long, but the whole idea, he's actually dead on there, the doctor, with that whole thing. Like, if I just fucking pout and tell him, oh, I'm miserable, I'm such an asshole, whatever. Now he's got to fluff him back up just so you can get off that topic.
I'm telling you.
91. Dr. Ronnie moved in with Robin.
Ready to go.
Dr. Ronnie got Robin under control. Maybe you get me under control.
Hey, but wait, let me just say, here's why I think it's going to work. Because, first of all, Beth really is an angel. She's, I've never met anybody.
I hate. If we learned anything from this whole discussion, it's how Beth's a liar. Beth's a fraud. Yeah. Beth uses his money as a weapon.
He uses He uses a contract and a non-disclosure agreement as a weapon.
Beth holds things back and then releases them to make him look bad.
And also, it's not, in case people don't seem to realize it, she's also just as insecure as he is. 100% as insecure as he is.
So this whole Beth's an angel thing, I think if anybody listened to that segment would think the complete opposite.
Yeah, there's just nothing angelic about her. I'm sorry.
And I mean, honestly, look, if that's a good or a bad thing, I mean, deep down, you're a generous, great guy. You got this career that's maddening.
Deep down, yeah.
I think once you retire and you're in a good place with your profession and you feel you've perfected this and it's time to leave, you will become more of an easier person to live with. I guarantee it.
Jesus, think about this. We're almost 20. What? How many years ago was this hire?
2007.
Okay, so we're this far out, and he is still on the radio, still not retired.
Nope, and not nowhere in sight does he ever say, like, you know, the usual shtick at the end of a contract is like, I don't know if I still want to do it. He was doing this fucking 30 years ago as a negotiating thing, and like, well, fuck off then. He's
still in this arrangement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the longest bearded contract since I don't know.
But how could you not?
She has to wait for him to retire.
But see, Beth is the type of person. Beth is the type of person that can, and almost every woman I've ever dated. And here's why I think sometimes it's better to keep shit inside and do what Beth does, internalize it, because.
You think so?
Because listen, here's how my last relation, and I've dated 90% of the broads I've dated are Italian chicks from Jersey.
Inside and internalize them.
I think Artie must have had a rail at some point during this segment because he just starts.
He must have had a what?
He had a rail of cocaine because he all of a sudden comes like he just came to life.
Well, typically when he would, in the old shows, when he was there, basically he would let the guest he would give the guest 30 minutes with Howard to go whatever bullshit, and then he'd start interjecting. Now Howard has done that to Robin, except he lets her come in an hour after the fucking thing has happened to make some asinine comment, but it means nothing. But Artie could actually contribute, and often did, and really added
this
to
is good. He's just a little.
He's fired up because he's still got the bro thing on his mind.
In the same situation, certainly my last girlfriend and the last few I've had would have turned to me at that dinner and said, fuck you, I want dessert. Okay. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck you, I want to leave. I want fucking dessert. All right, I'll stay here and wait. And then it's like an argument that we're over her dessert. I usually end up going, look, fucking take the dessert, eat the fucking dessert. and then we get in the car, and I'm like,
Artie's right. And what about maybe someone's just compromised?
Well, you're saying Artie is a good relationship?
Artie. I applaud what you're saying.
Well, no, what I'm saying is
I like to be like the Taliban. We're going now, and let's go.
What I'm saying is there's a happy medium. I don't think Beth does resent stuff in Harbor. I really think she's that nice of a person, which is like a fucking a diamond in the rough.
So you would say because can do everything, Howard doesn't have to do anything.
No, but I'm saying there's a compromise. She shouldn't do that all the time.
Listen.
But in that situation, you fat ass, I want to eat.
No, but there's something.
God, it sounds so fun to date Artie.
Yeah.
Fuck off!
I love when he would get on a roll. When he get exasperated with himself.
My cheeks hurt from laughing so hard right now. He's so great. I miss him so much on the show.
That's the point, but
not all the time. I think Beth is mature enough to realize I'm not going to fight with him about a fucking dessert.
Let Dr. Ablow respond.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Here's the thing.
My real question: does Beth have a sister?
She did. She'd be in bed with us. Sorry.
Well, Artie's describing another extreme.
I'm describing a normal Jersey relationship.
Another Jersey. Right? But the bottom line is there's something in between where you see what we've skipped is you intuiting her feelings and saying you knew it. By the way, she loves dessert.
Yes, she
does.
Who doesn't?
Isn't Artie a little bit like Tony Jr. on The Sopranos? AJ, he just hijacked my therapy session, didn't he?
But I'm saying, Mary's desserts at Gary's party, they were fantastic. They missed Mary's desserts.
Well, they also...
No, we didn't. We got him in the car.
Anything, though, they also ruined the part. I mean, Mary... was devastated.
Dr. Keith, of an etiquette person.
Okay, this is where I love it because right after that, Gary leaving, Bauer leaving the party early, the wrap-up show immediately after it was one of the best bits of truth serum ever dropped on the show because Artie's going, look, he was just a rude asshole. That's basically it. And this is what gets Artie fired up because finally, he's actually able to say this stuff without really too much recrimination.
You know what? We really should do a walkthrough for that
leaving the party.
Dinner party.
I'm not so sure, but some of the wrap-up shows are great for that. Absolutely,
they're so funny.
He hit it on the money. When would the rudest possible second be to leave a party?
They were supposed to turn on the court and they were late. Ralph, you're on here. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Howard, do you want to meet anyhow?
I don't
eat
meat.
A couple quick questions for Dr. Ablow.
Except Ralph's.
First of all, why is arguing healthy? Who wants to be with somebody who's bitching and moaning all the time? And also,
sometimes it is.
And also, the second part.
We didn't even say it has to be an argument.
Wait a second. What is wrong with Beth sort of taking care of her man and making some concessions like Artie is saying there? They're not huge things. She's not making these giant leaps of.
She doesn't let me walk all over him. Trust me.
But I don't think Dr. Ablow is saying
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, first of all, what's healthy about arguing?
Fine. She's perfect for him.
Here comes the boy toy to the savior. He realizes Howard's drowning.
Absolutely.
Here's Ralph on the phone.
Well, didn't he also call into that Better Half show as well? Because, right immediately after his boyfriend, which means they were probably in the hot tub together. He just handed it over to him, saying, "You call too."
Because if anyone has the chance to convince Howard that he's lovable at his core, it is this woman.
Yes.
There's no question.
Right. Now, tired from being up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God, this sounds like his. This is the part where Howard doesn't realize Ralph sounds like his wife.
He sounds like his clone, his slightly younger clone.
He's tired from being up in the morning.
Yeah, guys, leave him alone. He's had a hard day. He's been meditating all day. He's been contemplating this chess gambit.
Who likes arguing?
Who likes arguing? Who likes to live with someone that bitches all the time? Well, what about Howard?
Let the doctor
I don't know.
speak.
But here's the thing. There's something that you communicate to us that I should make note of because it humanizes you even further, which is that in that moment where you subtly or not so subtly communicate to people how in distress you are.
Yes.
You're pleading. You're saying, I don't know if my needs are going to be fulfilled. I don't know if I'm going to be okay. And that comes from somewhere. Someone didn't serve
too
your
needy.
He looks so sad right now, doesn't he?
Well, Dr. Ablow is right. I'm too needy. I'm very needy.
Yeah, but I think Beth
I'm not
could
saying
pick
you're
and
too
choose
needy.
her arguments.
Will you stop him with
I have one more point.
Fuck
Rob.
We should hear him out. He has good points.
He has good points.
He has good points.
The dessert thing is somewhere where Beth.
Go ahead. You were going to say something?
It's so you listen to this show, you forget. Like if you would play the show now and play this, there is zero energy in that show anymore, and this is just nothing but energy.
Well, yeah, it always fed on conflict, and this is no different. But then, when he decided he wanted to neuter it, I don't even know that if I'm accepting the money, whatever money it is, I don't know that I could, as a performer, put up with it even for the money when I had as much as he did, because it wouldn't be any fun.
Oh, it's got to be terrible.
Yeah, and for the workers, Jesus, the Howard TV guys, God, I'd love to get one of them with fucking truth serum and just feed them Jägermeister all night and just ask them questions and interview them. Scott DePace even.
It's like, look, this is bullshit. I'm not going to start an argument, but she needs to pick and choose. Like with the rug thing, that would piss me off. I think there she should stand up and say, I love this rug. It's bullshit. I want to keep the rug.
Well, wait a minute.
There, I think that's a bigger issue. She should stand up there.
I'm just suggesting.
Both people should be able to be comfortable.
Right.
It's a lot on you, Howard, because what you have to do is you have to summon the resolve to say, I'm going to not even let her notice that right now I'm crawling out of my skin because she loves dessert.
Right.
And I love her. And so I have a certain responsibility.
I don't know if I can do
that. You hear that subtle laugh and like, Jesus Christ. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why you hit me with this truth bomb? Anyway, let's keep going.
I'll be on my doctor to go with you that every once in a while you could do that for her.
Show that it's at least a choice in your head.
Let me tell you something. Number one, I can't think of an example right now, but there's a lot of things I do for Beth.
Of course
he's wonderful.
Oh,
Please.
Just like the ways when Beth's like, he's a wonderful father.
Yeah, do you remember that one? Oh, he's wonderful with her. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful father.
He's a present father.
He's a present father.
It's going to come up. If there is this discussion that transpires about children, which I know you've alluded to it, and I wouldn't be a psychiatrist worth anything if I didn't note that we skated right over that.
We did.
Right.
And she's nodding because she's like,
No. I made it very clear from the beginning. I've never wanted to have children, ever. I was a little girl. I knew it, and I didn't think I was going to get married either, but that changed.
See? That changed.
So right up front, I said to him, I don't want to have children, but could change. I'm not going to say I'm never going to want to have children for the rest of my life. I've never said that to him.
That's right.
He's chosen to ask me to marry him, knowing my...
Hold on. Go ahead.
Don't you think that's strange that she's like, I knew from when I was a little girl that I never wanted to be a mother. Why would that have any impact as an adult for what you want? I trust my 5-year-old self to know.
Well, Howard knew he wanted to be in radio when he was 5. Like, Jesus Christ! When I was 5, I wanted to be a rock star. I
knew from when I was a little girl that I never wanted to be a mother. So what?
What are you saying about your own mother situation? No, clearly that's just her doing her absolute best, like Oscar-winning acting on, like, look, don't fucking throw that kid thing at me now because my contract's almost getting torn up right now. Buckwald's in the back room going,
I might want to.
He's in the background dumping gasoline on it and holding a match.
No,
I think we just lost
He wouldn't. See,
I wouldn't.
Yes, nostrils flare.
I cannot have more children.
He will.
It's something that just would not be good for me.
Let's just pause a moment.
For me,
and tell the
very
truth.
Selfish.
That's a big issue.
It's very selfish,
my book,
and I will feel horrible. I shouldn't be plugging, but
you don't have to plug my book. I'm fine.
Sorry, what's that? But one of them is a rabbi, and one of them is a social worker.
It would not be good.
So it's like in a Benny Hill sketch where they fucked up the audio.
Here's what
and Beth says to me, you would undo our beautiful relationship if I wanted to have children. You wouldn't do that for me. And the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't do that to the children. In other words, a father. I'm a father to 3 girls. A
father should be fully committed. When you're in the fucking basement jerking off to gay, whatever Snapchat or whatever.
What does that say about you as a parent? I wouldn't do that to the children or the prospective child. He knows that he's such a piece of shit father.
Absolutely. That's an indictment on his own self as a father, but you have to read into that. You can't, you can't just, he's not saying it. You got to read the subtext.
We're embarking on this thing we're embarking on with you knowing that I can change my mind.
We're embarking on the Titanic of relationships.
We're embarking on this thing.
Saying, no, I'm not marrying you because of this, because I may never want to have children. Why ruin something?
Yeah. Why ruin
something?
Why stop spending money on me when I might never want to have kids?
And us, too, if it really gets to that point. I really don't think that you're going to let our life go for the sake of you're worried that you can't do that to a child.
No, we will have our life
together. Listen to the panic over this. By the way, the sound of her voice, the panic voice is right now through the rest of this whole segment. She's in panic voice.
I think, some of it's carryover from Artie being louder and Robin being louder. And in that studio, I'm sure you have to sort of scream a little louder once people start getting louder, just to keep yourself on an even keel. But yeah, absolutely. She's in fear mode.
No, but that's where we're not
enough to not go there.
That's where we're not going to go, of course. Right? Because what you're saying, see, now we crystallize everything.
Go ahead.
What you're saying is if it comes to be your fondest hope and desire to have a child, I am saying at least, and I'm not sure it's true, by the way, because you're a giving spirit underneath it all. Mm-hmm. You're saying, I would literally say it's a deal breaker. You best just take that part of yourself and consider it not in play, even though you've already heard from her, I might want to do it. I think you need to at least say now, I might do it if you really want it. I might.
I don't want to mislead Beth. I love her so much. I want to be honest.
You're a good father.
I'm an okay father.
No, he's looking around the room for a noose to hang himself right now.
He's like a strong support beam, yeah. And then this is all now this is the ass lathering about his fucking parenting skills.
Yeah, he's a wonderful. I live his life with him. He is a wonderful present father.
But I am now 53 years old. I'm being honest.
Perfect time.
No. I am 53. Dr. Ablow. I am 53 years old. My fallopian tubes are dry.
Mine are going to dry up, and then they'll be fine.
I am telling you, Doctor, look at me when I talk to you. I am telling you.
I'm trying to gauge how
there's a point in my life where I want to do certain things with the rest of my life. I don't want to be kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have kids, and he doesn't go anywhere and do anything with his life. So, I mean, there's nothing that they're doing that if they had a kid or not, that it wouldn't be any different. You sit in your friggin' house, you eat at Nobu and your chicken parm, and you go to bed, and you wake up, and that's it.
He's such a creature of habit. I found it funny that when he did get divorced, it was such a slow, small amount of partying he actually did when he was still at an age when he could have done it. At 40, it is pathetic to be in your early 40s and finally discovering alcohol. But, and music.
Clubbing.
Clubbing, yeah.
Clubbing
exactly.
At 8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. when the party's really rocking. People are getting their hearts started at 7. So, it's amazing that even at that time, that little time in between, he really at his heart is like, I don't want to be in public looking like Lurch with these people. I just want to be at home. I want to be in a controlled environment. And that's why when we eventually get to that stripper, he buys a stripper and Mercedes story. There's something definitely there where if he can't control the environment, then, he have to be fucking liquored up or not liquored up, but in somewhere where he knows he's got backup, he's got this and that. But in those clubs, he's not going to get fucking security. Right. He's a target.
I don't want to be taking care of kids.
Yeah, but here's the problem.
Get a Nigerian.
Here's the problem. You fell in love with a woman who she doesn't want that. That's the trouble. And ultimately,
we got a problem. Maybe. So what do you tell me?
I don't want to have kids. I know
She's
that.
Not sure.
She
don't. Said you're not sure.
But that could change in 5 years. I'm
not sure.
I'm going to be 35 years old.
But
I'm going past my childbearing age.
You're not sure either because you're marrying her and she said she's not sure. You don't want a miserable relationship.
They're a fucking mess. They are Mess.
I love it when you throw in profanity because you don't do it so often. So when you do, it's like an H-bomb. Like the idea that this is even a question. Like she can't. Like I said, she's tangled in her own horse shit. And now she can't. Like she's scrambling. It's just like scrambling for air. Hold on.
False pretense.
These two are never on the same page throughout their whole life.
God, no. It's just at a very base level, like, look, this is the arrangement. But throw them that curveball. Just talk to them directly, and they're lost. They're lost for words.
You would never, ever do it.
I cannot have more children.
But you said you wouldn't get married
it would
also.
make me miserable.
But you said you wouldn't get married.
It's different. I met Beth.
See, I'm not worried about this whole thing.
It's different again. No, she's very confident.
He proposed to me knowing all of this.
Now,
listen,
by the way,
I'm sure I never want to suck a man's penis. I am sure. You telling me?
Why would she even bring that up? Why would that even be like? Why wouldn't you say? I'm sure I don't want to. I don't know. I'm sure I don't want to go on a cruise to the Caribbean or something. No, it has to go gay every fucking time.
That was a Freudian slip if I've ever heard one.
That's the first thing that comes to your mind. That's like, I'm sure I don't want to do Cleveland Steamers on Ralph's, at Ralph's mansion, his little man cave.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure I won't. I'm sure I don't want underwear parties today.
I don't want to prance in front of him. Yeah.
Ain't gonna change ever.
That I believe.
I'm not doing it. I'm not blowing the guy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Doctor. Said to me, well, you might change. I'm not changing.
No, I believe that.
I mean, if you
we
tell
believe
me
that about you.
I'm a
Someone tells me
Dr. Ablow, if you're going to put your penis in my mouth while I'm sleeping, okay, that's one thing.
Yeah.
He's getting.
Okay, so that's a solid minute of just gay shit, like where it was not called for.
Part of it's because that's his shtick when he's nervous, but
Absolutely.
Most of it's because he's a closeted homosexual in plain sight.
Yeah, and this is I'm going to Beth's just about to say he's uncomfortable.
If you said to me, well, you might change. I'm not changing.
No, I believe that.
I mean, if you
we
tell
believe
me
that about you.
I'm a
Someone tells me
Dr. Ablow, if you're going to put your penis in my mouth while I'm sleeping, okay, that's one thing.
Yeah.
He's getting uncomfortable. He's
getting uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's using his humor too.
What you have,
humor, I'm telling you
You
the
gotta
truth.
live the truth.
He's using his homosexuality to ward off the truth.
Because that's what
His armor of fruitiness is going to withstand any of this therapy.
Truth, honey, living the truth.
Look at the book. Right here, Dr. Keith Ablow's book, Living the Truth Transforms Your Life. I might have to read this.
I like
You seem to know what you're
this guy.
talking about.
I'm here for you.
It's good.
You can read it. You can call me.
I have to say, from this session, I am completely encouraged, excited, and thrilled about everything.
What the fuck are you talking about? Next, they're going to be promoting Dr. Ablow's Victims Got a Book, My Life in Chains.
What session was she at?
That's like I don't.
You know what I feel like? There's so many Men in Black when they have that thing that flashes your memory off and you can't remember anything. Did somebody just come in there and do that to her?
Baby names.
Very positive. No, I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That slipped out. It's not a therapeutic statement.
You're trying to be funny.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was trying to be funny. I'm excited that this was,
Okay. Yes.
I'm excited. I feel really good.
Of course she's excited because guess what?
I feel good.
Do you know that not enough people, this is rare, that two people would, bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get out and let's get under the hood of this relationship because we love each other.
I like this.
I am so in love with this man, and I'm excited this is a challenge, and it's
We're
wonderful.
We're embarking in a great thing.
I think for the healthiest thing you guys could do is, I think Beth should have a baby on a white rug while she's eating dessert.
So you're making... But this is very serious stuff.
Honey, I want to marry you more than ever right now.
Really? Isn't that great? Right here, I'm ready to have sex right in front of Dr. Ablow.
He's ready to have sex with Dr. Ablow.
Howard?
What is a challenge? What? Do I consider a challenge? Me?
What are we talking about?
I'm the challenge here.
But I said, do you consider the relationship a challenge?
A challenge? Yes, of course I do. It's a challenge.
Yeah, he's mentally challenged.
It's always a challenge to maintain your faux heterosexuality in the face of such faggotry. Jesus Christ.
Everything for him is a challenge.
It's been challenging to you.
Listen, it's been the easiest thing I've ever been involved in. And as Dr. Ablow points out, well, maybe that's not so healthy in the sense that
it's been
that Beth's making it too easy
so
for me.
Easy, yeah, on the other side.
That's right. I get it. I hear what he's saying, and it concerns me. I don't ever want to be a negative force in Beth's life. A person who doesn't.
I just want to complain all the time, force her to leave whenever I want, and have to listen and put up with my bitching and moaning.
And pout anytime I don't get my fucking way.
But I don't want to be a negative force in her life.
I don't want to be negative. No.
Believe me, I know it. I do it all the time. And the fact of the matter is, I'm going to try and keep certain things in check and be aware of certain things. That's going to be my commitment to Beth. And I'm going to always try to be a loving, giving person. But it is
it's a challenge. It's a challenge for me. It's a challenge for me to be loving and giving. Definitely giving. Ask Scott Salem about that shit.
I'm horribly selfish.
Well, I would like to see one day where you go out and don't cause the white tornado. That would be a lovely day.
I do that. Do I always cause a white tornado? Do I? I must, right? I must.
You can tell him.
Kind of. Yeah, you do.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I'm going to learn to speak up and be honest about those type of things.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, you're not.
Would.
I'm
not challenged by that.
You know what you're going to notice? That she tells you these things, right? Some of which may sound critical. And then you're going to notice that she loves you even more.
Even more, yeah.
In other words, you're going to finally...
It's going to feel critical. It is. But I'm going to...
Very defensive.
I'm defensive.
Yeah.
But that was the lesson of Marley and me, that I was like, I can't believe that you got that, and then you let it go.
And here it is again.
I forgot.
79.
Here it is again. You found someone you can take this journey with. Congratulations to you. That's a wonderful thing.
Congratulations. You both won the
You got the stuffed horse at the fair with your third shot. Robin Givens and Angie Everhart wouldn't sign the contract.
You won the dull crayon beard.
Thank you.
Yes,
and I look forward to reading the books. Yeah.
I don't want to be anyone's tornado. I want to be the sunshine in your life.
We live in such a celebrity culture that the only way you're not going to be the white tornado is if you all go out with 5 other A-list celebrities.
No.
If you get up and Jack Nicholson ain't going to give a fuck. But me, Ronnie, and...
Wait a minute. Artie, the tornado starts before he ever leaves home.
Oh, really?
What is it, Dan? Go ahead to Niagara Falls. You've just heard a therapy session conducted by the noted Dr. Keith Ablow. His book is already taking off because just of this session.
So, yeah, listen to this.
Living the Truth, Transform Your Life Through the Power of Insight and Honesty, and it's in stores now. Now, Dan, what do you want to say?
Okay, I'm a huge fan of therapy. I love it. But, Howard, I think you're so much more normal than you think.
Absolutely right. If I could marry you.
I think a lot of times the biggest problem I think most people have in this world is that it's 3 things, and Artie has the same problem too. It's people expect too much from themselves, from other people, and from life. I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, because it's asking a lot of somebody to. It's asking too much of him to sit at a dinner, to fucking. To make it to 9 o'clock. To make it through your cousin's graduation.
Right. To pay your, not even a fraction of your salary to make sure your fucking longtime employee's wife dies with some dignity and they don't have to fucking remortgage for a third time their house.
Good carpet. Mike, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Howard, I agree with you so much, man. Listen, I work the midnight shift. I work midnight to 8, and I know what it's like to want to get to sleep. When
I had to go to bed. And Gary should have...
Howard works midnight. He works 5 hours a day now, 3 days a week, not even 4 hours a day. I wonder if this guy has an armed escort to the elevator.
Understood that. My relative should understand that.
Go to, and you want to cut out. I am so right.
Isn't Gary on the same schedule that you are?
I don't know.
Where's that gun?
I realize that. I'm terribly self-centered, Dr. Ablow. I realize that I think the rules.
And anybody looking for that book is spelling it ABALOW. can't
Do you
find
want to know? Can I tell you? When I was researching this, I was typing AVA, and I realized it was Keith Ablow. I was like, what?
Were you looking for Led Zeppelin afterwards as well?
Apply.
Why doesn't he correct him?
You're going to extreme right now.
No, this is what I live with.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
No, this is what I live with, and I try to keep it under control.
You try to
it's so hard for you.
Yeah. I want you to take petty victories to say, oh, I got to leave the party early. Wouldn't it be a better victory to say, I was able to sustain myself through that dinner in a way
Beth
that
could enjoy dessert.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm fine.
It wasn't just dessert. I was having a wonderful conversation with Gary and Mary, and I was just
disappointed. You had too much fun.
After
she was disappointed.
You had enough fun for the night.
Again, we got in the car, and I had a wonderful ride home, and I snuggled, and I had a wonderful night's sleep with
But it would
Howard.
have been nicer if I could have considered your. I thought I was considering your feelings. I thought you were like me, wanting to go home, and that's ridiculous of me. I shouldn't have want to go
There
home.
we go. That's what the point is.
I really I think I still even believe you're lying right now. But you're going to tell me when we get off the air, go, of course I didn't want to be at Gary's.
Well, that's what
ever.
You said that to me.
Yeah.
You said, oh my God, I'm so happy to get out of there. I was tired.
Even after you
Convincing
came on
himself.
the air and said the opposite, he came in 2 days later and said she was lying on the air. She told me that she wanted to go.
He'll probably say that tomorrow, too.
I sometimes think she's the same as me, and that's not fair. I can't
There
do
we
that.
go.
That's an absorption.
I don't want her to have a brain.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I just presumed because I didn't really give a fuck actually what she thought of. I'm leaving when I'm leaving.
Not everyone is as
Beth!
That's right. No, not everyone shares my feelings.
You don't need.
I love that line. Artie goes, Ronnie's got to go get Air Force One.
I've got to make Beth into
The wigged, fruity president.
what you're saying.
I'm saying something just 2 shades away from that, which is it's not your responsibility to make her into a separate person. Otherwise, you've created something,
right?
And you're not going to be able to interact.
It's
with
up to me to treat
her.
her.
The whole person.
This sound like.
Yeah,
that's right.
And read me and who I am.
I'm reading you now.
And I'll try to be more
Does she know he hates reading?
obvious with my.
Yes. And what can you do to? I guess you're already perfect. I
did not get that I am perfect from this conversation. I have to be.
How many
more
shots is
assertive
that
and
now?
be more showing you how I'm really feeling inside rather than just letting it go.
She has to take more risks.
Yes.
Yes, you
take
do.
more risks.
And you have to be willing to
I'm
believe
excited for
that
this.
I love you enough that I can withstand you taking risks.
Yes.
And if I don't love you enough to withstand taking risks, then you shouldn't be.
But I
with
know
me.
that you will, and that's why I'm excited for our
This
future.
is a.
I'll stop it. Go ahead.
This is like a hostage situation.
Negotiator.
I feel like I'm in the most surface level hostage negotiations, the most vapid people I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my Lord. Yeah.
So together.
And this whole discussion, by the way,
will be forgotten in about 5 minutes.
No, I won't forget it.
That's the absolute truth. He's already forgotten anything he's already said. There's no substantive change in his life is going to come from this. And in fact, he'll actually rebel more and say, fuck this. And this is where I said earlier, there's no talk of this on the wrap-up show. And there wasn't any. I looked. I have it. I have the audio. I could even upload it just to prove to people. No, they didn't talk about it. And this is what they shouldn't have talked about anything but of course, King Baby wouldn't have that.
Page of Marley.
Can make like you said. I mean, when you came back from reading that book, you had this whole on-air discussion how it had touched you, and then for you not to remember.
I don't like ever acknowledging feelings.
Oh my!
I never acknowledge them.
That is amazing.
You really didn't remember
You
that.
do acknowledge your feelings sometimes.
He does.
No.
What's the most thing that you've experienced? Have you shared?
She's so dumb.
It's
just like astounding how stupid she is.
Do you feel like you lose brain cells when you listen to her in any interview?
I watched the Kitten Bowl.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was
just just to participate in the listening thread of the Kitten Bowl because it's just so hilarious. I mean, Dennis just cracks me the fuck up when he gets on Beth. That I felt like I was losing brain cells listening to her. And like, just like right now, I have that same feeling where I'm like, oh my God, I feel my brain slowing down. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
You got this image of the camera guy putting a fork up to his head going like this. I mean, you gotta, I don't understand. Painter for this fucking Kitten Bowl anyway. Is that something that you think Stern must pay for them to put her on?
I think it's a paid spot. I think that, like, who wants to compete with the Super Bowl? Nothing's going to go up against it and win. Yeah. So let's let him. Do
you think Squatty Potty is fronting the money for this, or Steven Singer?
I mean, I think he's quite sick of paying for her to have a career.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a very good foundation.
We have a lot of good.
Oh, clearly.
Only 5% we have to clean up.
That's right. You're right.
Gary's party is the main thing.
Exactly.
Boy, I wish I'd stayed through that fucking dinner.
No, but clearly that's one example of many. That's the point.
Well, let me tell you something. You seem to have it all together, Dr. Keith.
How old are you, Dr. Keith? You look like a baby. 45.
45.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a punk kid. Why should I be listening to you?
Yeah, how dare he tell you what?
Can you imagine?
How dare you? No, Dr. Keith.
Do you realize, Howard, when you were starting college, he was 10?
That's right.
And now he's fucking telling you what
Now he's telling me what to do.
No,
I'll tell you what to do, pal.
You can be my therapist. I need one, too.
Dr. Keith, I
like you, too.
You help me today? You help me with my beautiful fiancée?
I think Sal and Christine need to come next.
I would like you to come next.
I would like to be helpful, if it would be.
Sal and Christine really need to get here next.
Yeah, because they're the troublesome couple in the room. Now, mind you, that was a great session, but it didn't work really because Christine wasn't. She was clearly nervous, and she wouldn't go full force with it.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I liked that episode.
Yeah.
It's going to be one fucking
emotional departure.
Can I ask the doctor, what do you think of an emotional relationship as opposed to a physical one?
I don't think that it wasn't physical. That's my...
Wow.
I agree.
I'll just throw that one out there, Beth. You know,
don't you think
really...
Isn't that her projecting?
Really, right. She also flies really close to the sun. I mean, both of them, the nerve on them, because they know that they're not going to be outed.
Well, that also, and like, almost everything is... I think it's this way. I think it's this way because that's exactly what I would do. You know.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a wrench thrown into the story.
I agree.
You want to tell Sal that?
I don't think that it was, and Christine may hate me forever, but as a woman,
like Dana.
hearing what Sal's saying, what I heard this morning on the air, I truly believe that it was more than an emotional. When you're texting one.
This is your angel.
That is a sexual relationship. I promise you. You don't.
But that
guy
on
who won't
Mom
be
Caves,
answering your emails. Yeah.
But that guy on Mom Caves, that was completely platonic. Jared.
Yeah, that was fine.
best fucking Instagram, best social media photo ever.
Say I love you. Not even that. I just know from the way Sal was speaking that it was a secretive sexual relationship.
That's your feel. Sal has chosen.
You know what? You know what? Christine will not be answering her emails either.
No, she will not. She'll actually be probably you fucking putana. Jesus, that's what you really got to say. And Dana will not be answering your email either, shithead.
Sal doesn't got some nerve.
An issue that needs to be. Yeah. I think that he believes that it is, and I don't think he's getting past that.
Doctor, we got to get you in with Christine and Sal.
We got a major problem.
I'll try to talk them through this.
Yeah,
I will.
Honey, you're my only 143.
143. Am I counting?
143, my love. I mean that.
Don't know that.
You're my 401k.
It's so.
Sorry, go ahead.
Every time they put on, they sound so fake and like they can't be real. And anytime they're real with each other, it's like they have to short circuit and get back on the script. So like this, oh my love, you're my 143. It's so phony.
So it is like an improv thing. Let me just get back to gay, and then I can go back to the original plot.
Dr. Keith, I've been having a lot of problems with my bookie, and I think you could do a world.
Well, maybe you ought to come and cancel me and Artie. Artie doesn't think I'm his bro.
See, this is a typical example of you. We had an argument. You don't let it go forever.
No, it hurt,
look,
my friend. You hurt me.
And I've explained to you it was a dumb thing to say in an argument.
Well, many a truth is said in an argument.
Well, I don't think so.
And you felt hurt.
I felt a little hurt.
Here we go.
I did, yeah.
I did. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Did you hear Benji laughing there?
Benji, his audible laughter means he really enjoys something. Because it's not too frequent. It's not like a Jackie laugh where you could, you always heard that. Benji really getting that chuckle in, and it has always something to do with the Howard dynamic with people.
Well, I think when Jackie, a lot of the times it was laughing at his jokes that he actually wrote, and that was his way of signaling, hey, I wrote that one. And I'm sure he also found himself incredibly hysterical, so that's not surprising. But with Fred especially, and with Benji, if they really did find something funny, and it usually was at the expense of Howard, they laughed. They couldn't stop their laugh. It wasn't fake. Some people used to say, "Oh God, that's fake laugh." No. Later on in 2009, when Artie was kind of going off the rails, yeah, there was a bit of forced laughter, but not up until then. Especially when the 0.0 clip when they were fucking with Eric the Midget.
Those are so.
That's my absolute favorite.
I love when they let him talk and then they just do that 0.0.
Yeah, bye, Eric.
Fred hasn't genuinely laughed since then, like since Artie. The Fred genuine laughs are. I haven't seen one of those in I can't tell you how long.
Does anybody remember laughter on that show? It's so pathetic. And the fact that they have him, if you ever seen the video now, like the regular Stern feed that they have, the dedicated channel.
Yeah.
And Fred is, when they do show him, it's like they show him he could be anywhere, but we know that if you look at the larger shot, he's got that backing and he's completely covered out.
Like the Wall of Berlin.
He's a checkpoint
Berlin
Charlie.
Wall.
Checkpoint Freddy.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was I remember, and this started come about probably in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't know if it was getting things done or just afterwards, but old photos that Jason took of Howard with the guests, and they started photoshopping Benji out of the background. Like when you do the love set, it was there was a thread of like that on the the forum we used to post on. And I found that fascinating because why in God's name? I mean, it ruins the picture to have a photobomb head in there, some sweaty fat kid in the background just writing you stuff with a crayon. But why would you even bother to Photoshop that? Why wouldn't you just get the shot you want and continue? It's stupid. Anyway, so this is the leading into the whole bro fight argument, which we might do in the future, some segment of that, especially the wrap up show segment, which is really funny. But I'm not sure we'll do that one, but we'll let you guys know when we know.
Listen, in the middle of an argument, I chose to give you a jab that you're older than me, okay? And that's how I did it. And that's a dumb, stupid.
Yeah, but Artie, listen, you can't.
You don't want to get close to me.
Let's not argue.
Oh yeah, well I feel nothing but affection.
I bring you?
Go ahead.
The nervous laughter of Beth. You can hear in the background, and then you also here it is like. You can't say, God forbid, Artie challenged him, and he's like, meh, like he can't be challenged. What were you thinking?
Exactly, and that's you're actually very telling because she's clearly worried. Like, how's it going to affect me in the limo going back today, and all the shit I'm going to hear tonight.
From you to get close to you.
Listen, I'm the guy who reached out and made phone calls to you after all your appearances. I'm the guy who reached out to you in the green room and got you the name of a psychiatrist. I'm the guy who reaches out to you.
Okay, I'm glad Beth and him are here. Okay, here's what the argument started.
Wow.
First of all, the whole thing was under false pretenses from that witch over there.
You did make up something.
Everything
that came out of it was true. Now go ahead.
Robin said I called her a jerk in anger, a total lie, a lie that I could sue you for.
Then what happened?
You should sue her.
Sue me, buddy. Sue me. See what you get.
One day on the show.
I told you this was going to be a horrible segment.
Okay, go ahead.
They love to sue.
Except if a story is actually true, and we'll discuss that in a future podcast as well.
I shouldn't say they. He, Howard.
Oh Jesus! Oh, that's like I said at the other place. There was a pretty good show in the early days where they discussed frivolous lawsuits. A couple of them were mistaken. They mistook Sal's lawsuits against somebody for Howard lawsuits. But the Smoking Gun has a great archive of affidavits and not affidavits, but court transcripts and court documents for that stuff. So that'd be another future podcast. Incidentally, we were given some creative constructive criticism, everybody, just that we should do, and I think is a good idea, which is to explain some of the terms we use, like wiggy and 79 and 89. And basically, the 79 and 89 comes originally from 99, which some website, I don't recall exactly, posted like celebrity IQs. And Howard's was supposedly 99, and I believe it, having heard him all these years. We really used to think he was playing dumb. No, he really is dumb. He went to grade, 13 and 14 in Boston University.
That 99 was on the higher end of the average, because I am totally thinking it's lower now.
I'm convinced it's lower. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was low. So eventually, again, at the old place, it became 89 because he just kept saying things more retarded than the next. And then it became 79. Eventually, it's just going to be, I don't know. We can't go to 69, I suppose.
Everyone gets to take an IQ test and a gay test except for Howard.
Yeah, that's true. All those Ed-Torian things, did he ever take the IQ test, to the best of your knowledge? Not an IQ test, a lie detector test, for that matter.
I know Ralph took one.
That was
I know
great.
Robin took one because
he
asked if she was in love with him, and that was a no.
Yeah. So. She was being deceitful. I think in the annals of sterndom that those might be a good one to revisit as well, because there was a later IQ test they did in like 2015, but it wasn't, of course, he wasn't going to be involved. And he said over the years he knows he has a low IQ, but I'd love to see what his actual score is.
Someday on the show, Howard has a girl up here, a pretty girl, who must be out of her mind crazy because she has a fat fetish and would agree to do something so nuts as to fuck me, all right?
That's not what I said.
No, that's the whole...
None of that was said.
The whole segment...
Doctor,
the whole segment was about that I'm fat. Obese, I think, is the word.
No, it wasn't.
And that she has a fat fetish. So the whole thing is like, everybody, Paul, and you would really fuck... Of course.
Okay.
It's totally fine for Howard to throw insults at other people, just hurl them like daily at Artie.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't handle one shred of criticism or anything, especially in regards to his appearance. I mean, he has to be, and he looks at this point so embarrassing, and they can't say anything.
Sounds vaguely familiar, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But in actuality, I remember hearing this the first time. My first instinct was Artie was being a little oversensitive. But then if you listen back, and it really is, the preamble is all, she's really into heavy-set guys and fat guys. And of course, it is insulting. It's one thing for you, the fat person, to make fun of your weight. It's just like, I'll make fun of my brother, but don't you dare. Or,
you also have to think of it in the context of it's friggin' 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to have this segment. I mean, Jesus Christ. The guy's probably strung out, hungover. He probably reeks of Jack Daniels, and he's coming into work. He's going to try to be funny. Here, be funny while we have this fat dating segment. I mean, the fuck?
Not only that, Artie, I'm sure, and this is another in-depth episode we'll eventually have, but at one point, do you remember he did the dating game with those three girls. One was from Las Vegas, and she was a mud wrestler at the Tropicana. That was her big claim to fame. And I keep thinking she looked, in my mind when I heard the segment, I thought she looked like Hillbilly Jim or something. And then the second one was from San Diego or something. She was really cute. And the third one was the half Mexican, half Irish or something. And it was funny. He later on in a wrap-up show figured out that was bullshit. She came in under false pretenses. She had a boyfriend at the time, and she was basically just lying to get on the show. And that must have soured him for good.
Yeah.
You know, that he was being used as just bullshit. And then the Howard TV following them on a date. Who the fuck would want that anyway?
I know. I remember that one.
Yeah. So but I mean, at the time I didn't know. You required the wrap-up show to figure out what was really true about the show back in those days. Now it's just kiss ass.
Would it make sense to that?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
But did he ever say what you just said?
Listen.
You just made that whole thing up. None of those words were ever said. And so if my jerk statement was wrong, that statement.
I
was
never
wrong.
said he was obese and a fat fuck. I never said anything like that.
Listen, okay.
I said, hey, a girl wrote me a letter, wants to have sex with me. I went, hey, I wish somebody would do that for me if I was single. A girl wants to have sex with me. Well, I'll meet her. Why not?
Yeah. You'll meet her, but you won't be sleeping with her.
Most likely, I'll meet her. I'll have her on my arm.
She got a fat fetish, so she wants to date Artie.
Yeah.
Would you be a little hurt by that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you can see my point. Now, without the other bullshit.
They both like it was like stereo. Yes, absolutely. I mean, crying out loud.
Listen, Artie, a big nose fetish. Fuck me. Just go down on me.
But here's the bottom line, Artie. I understand
He had
pain. I acknowledge it. I didn't realize
acknowledge yours.
I had the balls.
Which is interesting.
Notice he won't talk about the bro thing.
No, he won't.
I had the
do what?
I had the balls to say. I had the balls to be honest and say I wasn't comfortable with that. That hurt my feelings. I was very uncomfortable. Howard said, well, listen, I did it as a friend.
Yeah, I
because
really
that's
did.
what a bro would do, a friend try to get a friend. And I disagree. I said, Howard, listen, I didn't sign up here to be your friend. I signed up to make the show funnier. You could parade every chick with a fat fetish up here that's good for the show, but don't sit there and pretend you do. That's a friendly gesture. It's not. It's for the show. Would you agree that that's the truth? I mean, you know.
I explained to Artie. Yes, it was for the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. I mean, they're never going to admit to it. And right now, because Robin was involved with that, because she told the jerk lie how, you know, for Artie said that Howard was a jerk, which never happened. So now all of a sudden, because Robin is being looked at in a negative light somewhat, she goes right back to the other side.
Absolutely.
Right back to the dark side.
And if you listen to the original bro fight, basically Howard does admit, yeah, of course it's good for the air, but... So that was always his impetus. He didn't give a fuck about Artie. And at some point, I think it might have been after that popularity contest where they did that survey. Right. Doug Goodstein sent out that survey about who was most popular, and then Howard got all the negative. He's the creepiest.
Is like a creepy child molesting neighbor. Those are all the winning qualities he had for the show.
creepy and unfunny. The two most ungratifying words.
And here's another example, just like Gary's party, where all you had to do was say you were rude, you were uncouth, you were rude, and you weren't classy, my bad. Just like this, you're putting a face on something you're trying to say is a friendly gesture by throwing this dating game in his face. Like it's some sort of, hey, I met this really nice girl. I think you guys would be good together. And I'm just trying to do you a favor. I'm just trying to do you a solid, bro.
Right,
no, you're friggin' not.
No, and as if Artie was stupid enough to ever fall for that, crying out loud.
Yes, I got a girl who might want to date you.
Yeah,
he would even leave out the fat fetish. He would say, let's have dinner.
Something here, Artie. How did that discussion happen? Because I made the mistake and said you called him a jerk. So at least you got that off your chest.
Right, okay, fine.
Oh,
thank you.
Jesus. I seriously think I just heard her vocal cord explode. Holy. Oh my God. The strain, and I picture like her neck vein just like pulsating out of her chest like alien, like, wow.
Whenever
terrible.
whenever he goes after Howard, and it happened many times over the years, the two of those fucking nitwits would jump on Artie as fast as they were on like flies on shit, and it was horrible to hear actually sometimes because you always had to be Team Artie on those situations.
Do you picture Beth like in a corner just eating her hair and rocking herself?
playing with the string on her dress.
Listen, he filibusters. He filibusters. Listen, Artie, he says you heard it. This is ridiculous.
So
You're outrageous.
I said there was a million. He's given me a million examples why he's a great friend to me. I said this isn't one of them. Okay, that's my only point.
Okay, but
he wouldn't stop arguing that this
but
is
you
something
said
I
I'm
would
not
do.
your bro.
Let's hear what Dr. Keith has to say.
Let's hear what he has to say.
Escalated into the bro thing.
I think, look, Artie, here's the thing, right? You have your own armor that you wear, and part of it is this bluster, right? So when you said Howard bro, and he said this isn't an example of that, what he skipped over and what hurt you is that there are plenty of examples of it.
Yes.
Right?
I said that to him. I did. I just
you
said
didn't
it to
feel
him
it,
again.
man. I mean, you could say it now. Tell him the
Oh,
ways.
so we gotta coddle him more. He didn't hear it. Yeah, because he doesn't listen, because he hears what he wants to hear, and because he's using that one thing, and he's gonna lord it over you for the rest of your life. So enjoy.
Exactly. There's your passive aggressive fucking banquet for you, a la carte.
Brothers, and really from your heart, Artie.
I don't want to hear it.
Listen, I mean, I've told him this before.
I'll get upset.
Listen, the guys meant everything to me.
You don't have to say it.
Since the time I was 13.
I'm having trouble saying this, but you can get out everything else.
Because I'm not a fag.
This is about being a fag. Save it for another time.
So you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear the positive.
I don't want to hear it.
He wants to have your child. Everyone wants to have your
Listen,
child.
I do not want to have children.
Let's hear what he has to say.
Dr. Ablow.
Beth, would your feelings have been hurt?
Absolutely.
If somebody came up, if you were fat, would your feelings be hurt?
That's not what we're talking about. I explained already to you.
A friendly gesture.
You said I'm not your bro. That's what we were talking about. Dr. Ablow said you're just fucking bullshitting around here.
It escalated into the bro thing.
All right, well, that's what we were talking about.
Oh, my God. Beth, she better wear a bulletproof vest in the limo on the ride home for this. I mean, seriously. She's really... risking it all here.
This was pre-Stupid Graham and pre-Kitten Bowl. I don't know what she would have done on the way back. Like read the best of Edgar Allan Poe on the limo ride. I mean, Nevermore. Jesus Christ! It's just extraordinary.
The bro thing. You had several other examples of how Howard wasn't.
You want to know? I'll do what Dr. Ablow asked you, and I won't fumfer. You're my bro.
You fumfer this whole segment.
He's actually not as bad as he has been in other segments and stuff like this. During the bro thing, he could not catch a proper breath because Artie was on him like shit, and he nailed him so completely that fucking threw him for a loop just by calling him a pelican. And in case you're wondering, everybody, obviously mega fans know what pelican comes from. I don't know why we have to explain what wiggy is. Who doesn't fucking understand what that word means?
Who doesn't look? I mean, there's in Miss America in the middle of the book, he has like the years of Howard's hair. There alone, it's just like and hiding in plain sight. Like, here's a big 2-page spread of all my toupees, or whatever the hell he's got glued onto that dome of his.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that. That's that. You're right. That's the one because it's very visual. That book. There's way more pictures than an actual print.
Together every morning, 4 and 5 hours a day.
Well, that's a job. I point out that that's a job.
It doesn't matter. We're brothers just because it's a job. I chose to do it with you.
Howard, when you're done with this show, do you want to get together with me 5 hours every morning?
I do. That's right. Maybe not 5 hours. I don't want to see anyone for 5 hours.
Exactly.
But I'm going to tell you something. You definitely are my brother.
And I
That's all right. Don't say anything.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ.
There you go. I'm telling you.
You're my brother on my terms, and don't say anything.
Yeah, what was the expression?
I don't care how you feel about being my brother, or if you feel like my brother.
Yeah, he is heavy. He is my brother, right?
Yeah, he's such a good brother that he forgot he had a sister his entire life.
He wrote her out of the movie of his life that he had a sister that was a little older than him. And I'm pretty sure she's in the book, but I don't even know why you would make that creative choice. Why wouldn't you at the one point go, listen, I made a place for my then wife to be in the film as an extra, but I don't have a place for my actual blood in the story of my fucking life.
Fighter.
Dirty,
Dirty,
filthy.
Well, let me tell you
fighter.
why.
What about the fact that I
had
asked
a
you?
lot of things on his chest that he just blurted out at it was like a laundry list.
It was not. I mentioned one time he said something on the air that I told him in confidence. That's the one thing.
You said it was twice.
All right, twice. He agreed. He remembered. How about I've always asked you to take your boots off before you walk back here. You never do it.
Listen, I'll make you this guarantee. Yeah. Dr. Ablow's he's already gone over his hour limit.
I know. He's now.
Okay, get out of here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Hardly.
Beth and I did our thing today.
Yeah.
Sal and Christina can go next.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. It's Christine. He's still calling her Christina.
Anybody to ward off the scent that this is a complete fraudulent relationship. Christina, Sal, get in here.
Yeah, get in here, stat.
I was going to say, they can go next because
all right.
everyone else here has burned their bridges.
I want to find that whore.
No
I want to find the whore who ripped me off for $500. I have issues with her.
Well, don't make a joke. I'm going with Dr. Ablow, me and you, mano a mano.
That's a good thing.
I'm going to be absent from.
Never happened. Never happened. Never was going to happen.
No, I think if he probably re-listened to this segment, I'm assuming, and was like, "Oh Jesus Christ, this went horribly wrong."
No, I cannot unravel the the fruitiness that is me again on because this was filmed as well as recorded. So, I mean, it's there for everybody to see. If some people want to check out whatever archives and stuff, I don't have any audio. I don't have any video on my channel, but I'm sure there's some people who have it somewhere.
Heroin addiction.
No, it's going to be good because I see you. You even like to threaten me. Oh, I'm leaving them. This and that. Then I'm staying. I'm leaving. I'm staying.
How is that a threat?
Because I'm leaving. You didn't even come to me ahead of time and tell me.
You never want to meet me ahead of time.
Yep.
Don't you think it's interesting that it's okay for him to threaten abandonment when he doesn't get his way, but when somebody else isn't enjoying it, then it's fine. Like, they can't do that to him, but you know what? He can throw that abandonment card out anytime he feels like it. He's such a hypocritical asshole.
As Artie might say, he's an enormous asshole.
Oh, come on. I'm always available. I'm always available for you.
Like you were available for Stuttering John when he was looking to fucking tell you about going to the Tonight Show, which that whole saga is one we'll definitely go through at some point. But that whole I'm available, my ass, Jesus H. Christ.
We're gonna talk after Sal and Christina go.
Can you wait that long, Artie, or is this a crisis?
You need intervention now?
Yeah, it's been a crisis, a crisis of epic proportions, a mudslide of a crisis coming right for you, and you just turn the other way. So yeah.
Astounding. Sorry.
Artie's in crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in crisis.
Ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Who the fuck knew you were going to be such a good guest? All right, Dr. Ablow. Go take out the garbage when you want.
Yeah, exactly. Debbie,
that's right. Living the Truth. Transform your life through the power of insight and honesty. It's in stores now. And
he's good.
He's good.
She's great.
He's good. He revealed us for the frauds we truly are. That is not an empty praise.
Jesus Christ, if there's one thing I wish Howard 100 or 101 News did was plant a bug in that limo after this session.
Lisa G hiding in the trunk with some parabolic mic.
It's Lisa G.
It's great.
She's great.
I'm going to be on
Artie
board.
and you have problems.
Artie might have gotten fat. Well, Beth will never get fat. Isn't that right, honey?
It's in the prenup.
Prenup.
It probably is.
Oh, absolutely, for fuck's sake. You're supposed to look a certain way, act a certain way, and act like, we're actually, a couple. That there's no that sounded like it's some kind of a joke, wasn't funny, but it actually sounds more like the actual truth.
That's probably why, like, she has pictures of herself all over her house everywhere, just to, like, remind herself, like, I better keep looking like this, or I'm out.
Let me just subsist on sunflower seeds and ice cubes for the next 20 years and maintain this shape.
Frozen heated pizza.
What's that? What was it? What's that name of that company?
It was like she Instagrammed something. It was like frozen heated pizza bliss, and it was like a giant glass of wine next to it,
like a goblet.
There you
We're
go.
Kidding.
No, but, you know, Artie said Ad had a request for you. He'd like to get together outside work.
Well, I've invited him.
Artie, has he?
He invited me. He invited me one time. It was I had just broken up with my girlfriend, okay?
One time,
and he invited me out to be with him and Beth and another couple, and I just felt awkward being like
in Vegas. Did I take you and Dana out to dinner?
Yeah, you want to get on a list? Of course you did. I'm not. I
Get on a
remember
list.
that.
What, so where's the list of you invite me anywhere? Zero.
He just did.
Because Howard would really enjoy his Jersey Shore house. I mean, come on. In all reality, once you work with the guy for maybe 4 months, you're going to realize that this is all you have in common is whatever's going on in the studio. He likes to sit alone at parties and pout. And Artie likes to get hammered.
Well, at that point, yeah, beyond that, he's on the road in the weekends doing stand-up or, you know, just filming other stuff in the interim, because he was doing at that point like Rescue Me, and he did some guest shots in certain places. And I think when you roll it all back and think about it, Howard went to Jason's wedding, but he wouldn't go to Richard's wedding. And why in God's name would you do that? That one never made sense to me, because it was in New Jersey and the other one was in where was Richard Christie got married in New York, didn't he?
He did, and his complaint was, who gets married in the summer? What?
Yeah. Jesus,
what are you
H.
talking
Christ.
about? Okay, Gary's dad's wake. Nope. That means
No.
But Ed Bradley, bingo.
And I'm sure he didn't go to Will's wedding either. And I just he's just an arsehole. Christ's sake.
Place for poker?
I'm not going. Fishing.
You said one night we're going to do poker. You didn't do anything specific. You didn't do anything specific.
Sounds like he wants one-on-one time.
Yeah. I've offered it to him.
When?
I don't want one-on-one time.
Now he's taking it. We are for 2 weeks in July. I'm inviting you right now to come to my home.
Okay, fine. I'll be out there.
Great. I can't wait to see you.
Can't wait either.
And just have some fishing
rods.
rods.
It's going to be great.
Sounds like it'll be great.
Have a couple fishing rods.
I want you to hot tub with me.
Always okay.
And that's one to add for the drinking game when he goes gay. Perfect gay. Me, I.
Wasn't this the same? I think this might have been the same year where they did that whole Hamptons thing where they all went and they saw Tom Petty. It might have been Tom Petty or Paul McCartney. No, it was Tom Petty in the Hamptons. Mm-hmm. And Artie did stay at their place, and he said he went to check on Artie, and the door was locked. And the impression was he was looking to see Artie naked or something, and he went to go see Ralph, and he goes, his whole asshole was hanging out. I'm like, who would know this? The slightest vision of any kind of naked guy, most heterosexual men would just boil their eyes. They'd run around screaming, you know.
Any excursion that they ever had, Howard always had some homosexual anecdote from. I mean, it never was like, you should have seen the women at the pool or something. It was always Casey with his shirt off, or Ralph's whole asshole hanging out, or Ralph pissing, or it's just it's never straight.
Detect the theme, ladies and gentlemen. We're not saying anything. We'll let you be the judge.
With 2 fishing rods.
He's a good man.
You and Jackie never fought, and look what happened.
You still around, Fred?
Freddie, are you all right?
You okay, Fred?
I'm swooning over here from all
How's
of
Fred's
this.
relationship these days?
Who knows?
My relationship is great. I just have one thing to say. Beth is to Marilyn what we are to the Munsters. So
that's right.
What the hell does that mean?
What is that? What the fuck does that mean?
I gotta think. Hold on.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Nucus math. Beth is to Marilyn as we are to the Munsters. Don't you really want to say Beth is Marilyn and we are the Munsters?
Yeah. Why did he say it like that?
Well, this is what happens when you fire your head writer and you just give it to the sound man and decide. It's like the wig place that Chauncey went to, and the janitors put his plugs in. It's the garbage man did the surgery.
Poor Chauncey.
Poor guy. Hopefully we can get him on. I'd love to interview him.
What are you saying? She's a shitty actress?
No, I'm saying she's perfect, and the rest of them are a bunch of animals.
All right, listen, we got to take a break.
I think he's saying she's the only good-looking one in the room.
That's basically
That's not true.
A lot has been said.
A lot has been said.
Definitely not true.
Shouldn't have been said, but some things have been said.
No, it's all
I feel
good.
good. On my end, I feel great.
I feel wonderful.
I feel great. I feel wonderful. I haven't heard a fucking word.
I'm not allowed to say anything else because I have a gun pointed at my leg.
You think Ronnie's behind her with a fucking revolver?
God. Ronnie's probably in the limo with the air conditioning on full blast because he knows it's going to be hell in there.
He's sweating. He's shaping up his earphones so his what do you call them, earplugs, so he doesn't have to hear the shit.
Can't wait to be with you tonight.
We're going to have so much fun, and you'll be in bed early. You'll go to sleep, and
That
you
sounds
won't
so gay.
I told you I learned everything I needed to learn. No need for you to go out.
I can't wait
You're tired, and you need to go to sleep. All right, thank you, Dr.
I can't wait to put on Harvest by Neil Young and tie off.
I just got this image of Beth as Orson Welles in that wine commercial. Does this do anything? Howard as the French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence.
I'm threatening me.
Right. All right.
I need drugs to get through life. What about that, Dr. Keith? You haven't addressed that.
Go ahead.
All these people in Howard's life.
Addicted.
Anybody near him are rageful, psychotic, drunk, addicted. Everybody's a mess in order to just please King, baby. Gary's out there chain smoking. Benji's like diabetic sweats. Like everybody's a fucking mess.
Fucking chocolate sweats on Benji, and then you got Ronnie who's like playing with the revolver and just spinning it in his free time, counting his days for retirement. Sal,
like, like in a corporate environment where you have to take like active. Well, I don't know if you know, but we have to take like active shooter trainings, and all these red flags would go off in my head for every single one of these people. What
would they entail? Just as if you see the guy writing in chalk on his desk. Red drum. Oh, Christ almighty.
How dare you bring that up at the end of the session? Like
this is what happens, though.
Yes.
It's like when he tried to take
Robin's
back our grateful invitation to spend one-on-one time.
All right, we're gonna take a break. There's no time for all of this.
I know. There are too many issues.
All right.
Robin is delirious from not eating.
I will be back. Robin, you will do the news, and we will get out of here right after these words.
Now, I think this is also during her big diet cleanse, not master cleanse, although that was one of them. She was doing the magnets behind the ears, the beads. She was doing the all that Dr. Ronnie shit, and I think I don't think Tim Sabian did the green drink at that point. That was later on, but not too far off. But so that was a little
want to
dig.
get into Robin's eventually, like all of her crazy hobbies, or I don't know, whatever fad she was into at the time, and with the 15 Foundation. I mean, that in itself is just so interesting.
Oh yeah, the 15 Foundation is definitely going to be a deep dive, and that's going to be multiple episodes. We won't play; it won't be super clip heavy. We'll try to play some, but just to get the rundown. And it was, I think I've got it on my channel now, and I had it on my old one. And it's if you take out the Guatemala stuff and just kind of get around the Brendan Murphy stuff, it's fascinating to watch her meltdown at that time, sociologically, looking at.
It bleeds into the entire staff in so many different ways. It's fantastic.
Big time.
What song did we listen to?
Everlong by...
What song? I've been programming radio for 40 years. I don't know one song from the next.
Black Hole Sun.
Yeah.
Well, I was eating.
Whatever happened to that version of the song that you and Dave Grohl did together?
I don't know.
Same place the Mark Ronson song went to. Straight in the shitter.
Well,
I've never heard that again.
During that, I was eating, and Artie was out having a free therapy session with Dr. Keith Ablow.
He got him again?
And I know somehow they're now going to be talking once a week on the phone.
Well, I don't know. Again, I was there eating, and they brought him over. Lisa G with the mic. It looks like a press conference for nothing. And I guess they pressured him and me into talking. So now he's going to call me.
Oh, wonderful. I think you should talk to him.
Well, I told him, I said, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you like I do with these weight loss sponsors. You know what I mean? I don't want to fuck them over and be a high-profile failure.
Patient.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's really hard to want to be an active heroin addict and talk to a therapist and be on the show. And
listen,
so
Doc,
sad.
I got a score. Can you meet me in Delaware?
I don't know. That was a very intense segment.
Yes,
Well, I'll say.
I'm energized.
Hey, Mark, you're on the air in Harrisburg.
Hey now, Howard.
Hey now.
Mark, the patent attorney. How in the world did you think that was going to be a boring segment?
Well, I don't know. You never know. I said I'd put it out there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but how did you think you didn't have anything to talk about?
Well, you don't fight.
Let's not laugh.
He learned nothing.
No, it was wiped free. It's like one of those, not Etch-a-Sketch. Do you remember those little, I don't know if you grew up with these, but they had those cardboard backing and you use a little red plastic like sharp object basically to press over the plastic and it makes like ditto paper. You make little drawings.
Yes,
lift it up and then the thing disappears. Like Etch-a-Sketch, but same premise.
I know what those are.
As soon as, like, you could have drawn the Mona Lisa on that thing, and then your older brother just rips it apart, rips it off, and you got to start from scratch.
That's something to talk about with audio. I'm gearing up for my session.
Are you guys bros again? I just want to know.
No, I know not to be his bro.
Still no,
he told me
he's never going to waver from that. He'll never waver from that.
See,
I think that's always going to be his torpedo to launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, what a fraud. He just said, "You're my brother."
Now,
it's never going to happen.
Artie later on in his own podcast, the Quitter podcast, and even not with Nick DiPaolo and Artie's show. That one, he didn't really talk much stern on that until way later when he got back into heroin. But when he did his Quitter podcast, he often made reference to the fact that whole bro fight, the minute that was pretty much the beginning of the end for him. I think personally, and other people may beg to differ, that the beginning of the end was him realizing how much of a draw he was coming over to Sirius and realizing how underpaid he was getting. Like he really should have been getting, $5 million a year easily with the amount of content based on him. The wrap-up shows, the fucking content. Like they would waste an hour on him every fucking day.
You heard Vinny Pastore say from The Sopranos James Gandolfini was generous when he made more, we made more, and that's the way it went, so that it was fair, and they had the most amazing product because of it. Howard, on the flip side, made so much more than he was at terrestrial radio with that deal, and he paid them not even a fraction of what they deserved. Well, Artie especially.
It deserves its own show because you don't really need to do conjecture about what they were making, because if you have enough of the clips over the years, you can kind of paint a pretty good picture of what they were making at different times. But it's a show in itself in terms of understanding exactly how cheap he was. And you have to also understand, I got in touch with the lawyer that's connected to us, and I asked him about the original Sirius contract, and I said my understanding was Howard was given $100 million per year to his corporation. Whatever, 1112 or fucking not Colon Road Photography this time. It was 1112 Productions, and basically it was his to dole out as he saw fit. So whatever Artie got, whatever Robin got, whatever Fred and Bowie and everybody else got, he knew exactly how much they were getting, and he controlled it. Anybody wants to argue differently, go look at the contract. And
I don't know what you make.
I don't know what you make. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. He couldn't take it if he didn't know what they fucking made. If it was left the question, first of all, that would bother him, and second of all, if it was money that he felt he should have had in his pocket, which is really the sickness, then he absolutely would not have stood for that. So,
And
last little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Of course, he's obsessed with money and needs to know what everybody else is pulling in per movie, per year, per everything with his guests. I mean, he's so inappropriate with those questions. And then right, and then he doesn't answer. He's afraid of plumbers, and he can't even let Keith Ablow say mansion, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, like we don't know. Yeah.
My bro, we got the word. It's perfect.
I think Artie was hurt. I think he kind of lashed out.
He's my bro. I said that.
Yeah.
I'm not his bro.
Right.
What are you, 12?
Never think that you will be his bro.
I'll try and work on it. Maybe one day it'll happen.
I think he'd want to be again, but you might have to use a different word.
When you're done with the Beth situation, we'll work on this. I mean, you've got a lot there.
A lot on your plate.
You got a lot on your plate.
Right.
You're clearly an ogre.
Clearly I was wrong, Mark. Once in a while I can be wrong. But ultimately I was right. I had the segment on, so.
The only bad thing was that Robin kept interrupting.
Of course. I was the interrupter, yes.
Well, hey, I thought she spurred a lot of
Robin was good.
Well, yeah, until the end with the Artie stuff where she wouldn't shut the fuck up. And then she's just constantly trying to shout him down, trying to defend her meal ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, she did.
She's got to stop ganging up on Artie.
I love Artie. Everybody was talking on the wrap-up show about when is Artie going to blow his stack because I'm needling him. I love Artie.
She loves needling me.
And you're on in Horsham, Pennsylvania.
I'm very respectful of women. I would never.
Come on, man. I mean, again, how could you think that this wasn't going to work? This is great. You got to have this guy on once a week.
Well, obviously, I didn't think it would work because I had it on.
All right, that's the end of that. So, everybody, any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah, it was a good first idea for a show, and anybody who really wants to just get it, like I said, a better sense of what Beth is as a person, what she's really like, you definitely got to check out The Better Half. It should still be on YouTube. It probably still has less than 1,000 views. And,
also, if you want to know what the relationship is like now, check out Ellen this year.
So if you, just for those of you who are new to the podcast, if you're already subscribers to my channel, you know where to get it. So, but also for those who are not sure, you want to get it directly to one of your podcast subscribers, you can definitely get it from Podbean. We're working on getting it on, getting it on iTunes. I'm not sure if that will happen because I'm not a fucking Apple guy in the slightest. I'm having some issues with it, but either way, we'll always have it on Twitter and we'll have it on YouTube. And failing that, we'll have also a separate channel coming up soon, coming for extraneous stuff that's not Stern related that you guys might enjoy, but we'll definitely let you know when it's all going to happen. So this episode will drop probably this Thursday about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, the premiere, and we'll also have it on Podbean at that time. So until that time, everybody, thanks for listening. I'm Fillmore.
I'm Samantha.
And we'll see you on the next one. Toodaloo.
Bye.
You say you are lying, but if everything you say is a lie, then you are telling the truth. But you cannot tell the truth because everything you say is a lie. But you lie, you tell the truth, but you cannot, for you lie. Illogical. Please explain. You are human. Only humans can explain their behavior. Please explain.
I am not programmed to respond in that area.